Hello and welcome to the Wheel of Crime podcast. This podcast is ran by two ladies who play games, mumble profanities, and laugh way too often. Also, this podcast does cover topics of sensitive nature, and as such, listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and finally, welcome back to the Wheel of Crime podcast. My name is Jen.
I'm Emily, in case we all forgot.
Sorry, guys. That was a long summer vacation.
Holy
Not
moly.
intended to be that long,
Literally.
but
Well, and it's so funny. The week we were supposed to come back, I know I did our public announcement that you all saw on our social media about technical difficulties. Technical difficulties doesn't even begin to cover it. First of all, it was me, my personal technical difficulties, because I had issues with my recording station, we'll call it. And then the literal day I was able to get it solved was the day after I got my tonsils removed. So talking, not really a thing. That did not happen for like a solid 2 weeks. And now we're here. We're here.
we're finally back. We've arrived back to the audio world.
And planet Earth, it kind of feels like. Is there anything from your summer that you want to share on your end?
No, I don't know. It was such a weird summer. I'm not gonna lie. It went by so fast, but also I feel like I did nothing, but it was also so busy that I had something going on almost every weekend, and yet I'm like, I didn't do anything, but I did. Like, I did many things. I don't know. It was a weird summer.
Yeah, I kind of get that. I feel like I just kind of like wandered around in a fugue state. But then also at the same time, so I am my own worst person, because I always tell people, I'm like, oh, I'm just so excited for the summer to be here. I'm so tired of it being cold outside. And then the second it's hot outside, I'm like, I don't want to be outside. It's too hot. So then I just spend my whole year indoors and just constantly complain about it. So I really am just the worst kind of person. But no, I feel like this summer it was really similar for me. I think this is kind of what happens when you become like an adult, I guess, and you have to work to live. So just like that, and then I also didn't really get out and do a whole lot of outdoorsy stuff like I kind of was hoping I would. I did go camping, so that was fun. But what else? Yes, so my tonsillectomy did happen. That was a big part of my summer, because even though the surgery itself apparently was only 5 minutes, I was like fighting for my life and my sanity for like the week after that, because it was so weird. Like I saw how, so this is I guess a PSA for anybody who's going to be getting their tonsils removed and they are also a fully grown human being. It's bad, but there are worse things you can experience. So that could be, if that's a mental hurdle for you, like just know it could be worse.
Wow, words of encouragement. It could be worse, but it was really terrible.
It is bad, but it could be worse. Let's see, what was the bad part? So the bad part is that it felt like I was swallowing tiny knives all the time. You're like so hungry that your like stomach is like clenching up from how like hungry you are, but you literally cannot eat anything because your throat is like so swollen. And then for me, it was also like sleeping was like a really big hurdle too, because like I don't know if it was maybe my medication or something, but I just had the worst time trying to fall asleep, and then waking up was just like a garbage experience. So I was like, if I just stay up every day and every night for like the next week, will I still be getting better? And I kind of figured that out on my own, where that I don't think that would have helped. So I didn't do that. But the thought did cross my mind. And what else?
Jesus.
Yeah. Just like a lot of that kind of stuff. But thankfully, a couple of weeks of that, like, that's pretty low key for like everything else. But I did notice that so they say your recovery is closer to like 9 weeks. It's just like after 2 weeks, the worst of it has happened and all that. I definitely still have a
Mm-hmm.
really like weird time pronouncing certain words, and it's not because of like my brain not knowing what I'm saying. It's that I literally go to say something and either different letters come out, or it's almost like my throat is like choking on certain letters. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Hmm.
So we'll see if that's a forever thing or not. I'm hoping not. Uh, and then besides that, I've just been spending all of my time when I'm not working playing Baldur's Gate 3. And I could talk about that for hours, which is not what I'm going to do here today. But 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 that is just yeah, that's pretty much how my summer and my life has been going since we did our last episode. So yippee!
Yep, yep, yippee. We did not go to Stampede this year.
Oh God, no.
So, no COVID to report.
Yeah, no
Thankfully.
yeah, this summer we don't have a COVID report to give you guys, thankfully. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with or who listen to our show with the Calgary Stampede at all, but this year apparently very chaotic. Lots and lots and lots of people went, but not us. We dodged that bullet this
Not
year,
us.
so not us. Um,
I just was not mentally or physically prepared to have the worst illness of my life again. So I just was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do that. Plus, we didn't even have time. Like, we were thinking about it, but then it just didn't work out time wise for us.
Yeah, no, and then I also, like Jen, I was also fighting with my PTSD about Stampede and how sick we were last year. And for me, the PTSD, PSTD, I don't know, it won. And I'm a good. I'm very good.
Yeah. I'm not really looking to recreate that experience from last summer again.
Oh gosh, no.
So
That's like we had somebody come into work the other day who mentioned that they were currently sick with COVID, and I was like, "You stay 100 million feet away from me. Absolutely not. Get that shit out of here."
Ooh. Yeah, that's honestly it's spooky how like because it's like we're supposed to just like normalize it now and then people are just like walking around in the world with COVID and I'm like, I hate this actually. I think we should go back to like not going places when we're sick, but maybe that's just
Well,
me.
here's my thing. I don't even care if people are like sick with COVID or the flu. If you're sick at all, stay 100,000 feet away from me. I hate being sick. And you're telling me
That's what
you're
I'm
out
saying.
here living joyfully, spreading sickness out in public? Get back in your house.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that was like the one good thing during COVID is that if you were sick at all, whether it was COVID or something else, if you had any symptoms, you just stayed home. And everyone collectively was like, yes, that's a good idea. I don't know what happened to that, but I think we should go back to that as a society.
Yeah, I just have a very fond memory of pre-COVID. I was in church and there was a man who kept very grossly sneezing on the back of my head because he was sick with something. And I just think about that. I think
Oh,
about that still. So keep your sicknesses at home, folks. But on that nice, delicious note, uh, let's let's get into our episode today.
woohoo!
But first, we have our wheel of questions, obviously.
Yes, how could I forget?
Right? I know it's like the whole show. So we're gonna spin our wheel, and I'm gonna ask you some questions, which I will preface with, listeners, I am fully aware that I end up asking a lot of the same questions sometimes. I like to go in with the theory that because we grow and change as individuals as time passes, that maybe those answers will change. Anyways, on that note,
Or that Emily forgets what questions she's already asked me.
yeah, or yeah, yeah, it's something like that.
Spin away, Em.
We'll have a lackluster spin today. That's okay. All right. So first question: would you ever buy a haunted item on purpose?
No, I would not. And honestly, that's the part of okay, I don't really believe in ghosts. I feel like I've said that a million times, but
You're like, I am a
I
broken
feel like
record.
the way I answer these questions gives one the impression I do believe in ghosts, and I don't, but I'm also afraid. I don't want to be proven wrong.
No, this is
That's
this
not
is literally like how I'm pretty sure Luigi boards don't work, but at the same time, you will never ever catch me using a Luigi board. I just will not do it.
It's like, I don't need to be proven wrong. I'm just okay with being right in my mind that ghosts don't exist. Okay? We're gonna leave it at that. But would I buy a haunted item if I knew for a fact it was haunted? Absolutely not, because I don't want to risk it. And when we go to the thrift store, because Emily and I are thrifty queens together, it's like something that crosses my mind with certain things where I'm like, someone died in this sweater, didn't they?
I almost always think that. I don't know why. I think with women's clothing, I don't really get that because I know.
But it's men's.
It's men's stuff because men don't really go shopping all that often for clothes. Like, that's not really like a common hobby of theirs. Not to say, you know, every man hates shopping or something like that. But it is the general consensus, I think, as far as like,
if we're gonna stereotype,
yeah, if we're gonna
men.
stereotype men, I would say they don't like shopping for clothes usually. So then when you see like an old brown grandpa sweater vest at the Velo Village, yeah, I do. I'm like, yep, that's a dead man's vest right there. That's a real nice heirloom dead guy vest. Woo.
He did not give that up willingly.
No, that literally went with him to his grave. Literally with him till his grave.
And now it's on my back. So
yep, and now
we're just gonna.
And now I enjoy it, and we will enjoy it together. But no, that's really funny. But for myself, would I ever buy one on purpose? Not on purpose. I do, however, think I would buy one by accident because I get way too distracted by like neat, eclectic things. Like if anybody was going to end up accidentally buying a haunted item in my life, it would be me. It would be me. And I've even had things in the past.
I 100% agree.
I've had things in the past that I thrifted where Andrew's told me to get rid of them because they give him the heebie-jeebies. And I'm like, no, look at it though. It's so cute and funny. And he's like, hibby-jibbies. Get it out of here.
I don't like it. It's giving me bad vibes.
Legitimately. So that's fun. Let's spin for our next question.
Yes, spin away.
The wheel is not wheeling today. That's okay though. Do you think you've ever seen a potentially haunted item either in somebody's house or like at the Velu Village or like, you know, one of those other thrifting type places that you and I usually go to?
Okay, well, for argument's sake, if I'm saying that I believe in that stuff, which I don't, but if I'm saying that I do, then probably yes. Because there are some things at Value Village that make me afraid to turn my back on
you're
them
like
because they look like they might stab me in my sleep.
Yep.
There's some things I would never buy and bring into my home because I'm like, that's spooky. Mm-hmm. I don't like it.
See, from
specifically like things that play music at like like not necessarily like
no, you're talking like older music box type things like antiquated. Is that the right word? Whatever. Today it is. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, some of those things I'm like, I don't like the way that sounds creepy. It makes me think that something's in my attic and it's gonna come get me at night, you know? Yeah.
See, for me, in my memory, there are two things that I've seen at a thrift store, thankfully, not in my own house, that that I am like pretty sure are haunted. So like the first one was like this like gigantic oil painting that looked really nice. But like some wasn't right. Like it was one of those things where you look at it and you're like, you're like, the picture's fine, but there's something else about this that I don't like. It was one of those types of things. And then there was another time I saw like, I don't know if it was a bugle or something else, but like basically like a smaller looking trumpet. I saw this like dented ancient like bugle at the Value Village once, which like that wasn't the part that got me. It was like when you were looking at it, you could see that somebody had like carved their initials or something into the side of it. And I was like, there's a weird energy around that thing. I don't know.
And I don't like
yeah, I'm
it.
like, I think this is for somebody else. Maybe nobody. This might actually be for nobody else.
We might actually just burn this and call it a day.
That was my thing. I was like, if I was the person sorting through stuff and being like, ooh, can we sell this? Like, like when you're going through people's bags of stuff, I would have buried that. I would have been like, no, we're not even throwing it away. I'm gonna make a grave for it outside. Like it needs to be somewhere else.
They gotta have a burn pile back there somewhere of like haunted items where someone's
the haunted
like,
item incinerator.
I don't like the vibes of this thing.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's so funny. Because you know for a fact too that when older people die and their like family members don't want to keep their creepy things, that they just end up in the Value Village or Goodwill or whatever, Salvation Army. I'll just name drop them all. You know for a fact they end up there.
Yeah. Or like the handmade presents that someone was like, yeah, this sucked. Thanks, Jimmy, but no thanks.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. Funny. Okay. Next question. Do you believe in haunted items?
No, but I'm not willing to test the theory. Per my earlier statement.
Yes, I think we've addressed that you don't believe in haunted items, but it doesn't hurt to ask.
What about you, Em? Do you?
I guess it really depends on like the definition of haunted, because like I don't know if there's necessarily like people living inside of things, but I do believe that there are bad vibes and or bad energy attached to different things depending on like what it is. So I would say I believe in like bad vibes like bad vibe objects. Is that a thing?
That's fair. I feel like I also kind of believe more in that where like certain things just have like horrible vibes attached to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, because I don't really think that like I said, a person's just gonna like step out of a haunted painting and be like, oh, you let me in your house. But I do think that like if say somebody was like really attached to something in real life and maybe they like spent a lot of time with it, that kind of does carry on to like whenever their stuff ends up in the thrift store or wherever it ends up. So I do think that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like when you see like children's like stuffed animals in the thrift store and you can see that it's like really loved and well used. Like you don't really want it because you can kind of already feel that there's like a certain energy attached to that. You're like this is super not for me. Like this is super not mine.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we're on to our last question.
Yes.
Ooh, if you could haunt one item, I guess it doesn't have to be one item, but if you had to haunt an item, what would you haunt?
I would haunt a record. Like a cool record, so then when someone picked it up from the thrift store, they'd just be like listening, you know, to like fucking Grease the musical soundtrack, and then all of a sudden there'd be me on there being like, woo!
No, instead of like it's like the actual Grease soundtrack or something like that, but instead of like the actual people who singing it, it's just your voice, your voice singing it in the background.
And they're like, what the fuck version is this? I'm so confused.
Yeah, right. That's really funny. I like that. I would haunt. I feel like I could come up with like a million really cool haunting ideas. But right now, I would want to haunt like one of those like really gimmicky looking Halloween crystal balls.
Oh, that would be good.
Like literally
because
just like a glass
someone would buy
ball.
that shit from Walmart.
Yeah, it would be like a glass ball with like one of those little resin bases with like dragons or something on it. So that people would be like, ooh, I could use it for like my wizard costume for Halloween. And then it's just me in there.
And you're like, give me pizza.
Yeah. Order the Hawaiian with hot sauce.
And banana peppers.
Hey, don't forget the banana peppers. Or it would be like, oh, like ask my crystal ball something. It'll help you see your future. And I just like show like random dumb things like people being eaten by like a were shark or something. Oh my god, where am I gonna find the were shark? Don't know.
That's your problem to figure out, my dude.
Crystal Ball, does she like me? Or does she have a crush on me
Nah.
back? And then it's just like me writing in there, and I'm like, LOL, virgin.
Just roast these people, make them feel real bad about
I'd have a
themselves.
great time. That's why it would be like no, like my crystal ball. It does all these different things, and it's just me fucking around constantly.
What a vibe. I love that for you.
I know, I love that for me too, especially in this time of the year. All right. Well, that finishes our question round. Do you have any idea what I'm gonna talk about today?
I have a feeling you're continuing on with your haunted doll series that you started before our break.
You're on the right track. I've deviated slightly, just because I've done most of the main dolls, but it doesn't. That's like not the end of it for like haunted stuff. So you're on the right track. Um, I'll just tell you the description. So the Dybbuk box is a paranormal object consisting of a antique wine cabinet claimed to be haunted by a Dybbuk, which is a concept from Judaism. The box gained notoriety when it was auctioned off on eBay by owner Kevin Manis, who created a story featuring these paranormal claims as part of his eBay item description. His story was the inspiration for the 2012 horror film The Possession.
Wah, wah, wah.
So, the bulk of this story is going to be about the Dybbuk box because that was like a really controversial haunted item that this is going to be about. But I'm also going to cover some of the most haunted items that have been bought and sold on eBay.
Ooh.
Yes, because I was like, oh, like I still want to do haunted things, but it's kind of hard to find like consistent stories because there's lots of people who claim to own haunted items and stuff. So I just took the most notorious ones, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Amazing. Well, that's perfect for this spooky September episode. So take her away, Em.
Yeah, I'm just going to see if I can send you a picture of what the Dybbuk box looks like. But did you get it?
Yes, I did.
So that's
okay.
That's what it looks like.
It looks like a regular wooden box.
Pretty much. So, as I said,
amazing. Yeah, it looks so valuable.
Yeah, it's really fancy. So as I said earlier, Dybbuk boxes are wine cabinets. Sorry if I sound like congested now. It's from the tonsillectomy thing. My voice kind of like tires itself out randomly through the day. So we're just going to work through it. Dybbuk boxes are wine cabinets claimed to be haunted by a Dybbuk, a malicious demon said to hold the power to invade and possess a living person. Authentic Dybbuk boxes usually come with some sort of backstory and certified documents, such as papers signed by a rabbi that state, under all circumstances, do not open. That feels very cut and dry, in my opinion.
Yeah, you would think that that's pretty self-explanatory.
Like, if a rabbi says, under any circumstances, do not open, fuck it, I'm not opening it. Someone else can do it.
She's staying sealed so tight.
I'm duct taping it shut, actually. Like, I'm gonna take it a step further to make sure that nobody opens this.
I'm getting your husband to weld it shut for me.
Yeah. You're like, okay, glad you know what the box looks like now, Andrew, because it's coming to the shop and you're welding it shut.
That's why we were sending it to you, okay? It's all part of the master plan.
Yeah, it's all a prevention measure. Don't worry about it. So, what exactly is a Dybbuk box? Where does this legend start, and how did a man in California get his hands on one? Well, I'm gonna tell you. So, the history of Dybbuk boxes. A Dybbuk is a part of Jewish folklore, and it is a disembodied human spirit that, because of former sins, wanders relentlessly or restlessly, same thing, until it finds a haven in the body of a living person. Belief in such spirits was prevalent in the 16th and 17th centuries in Eastern Europe. The word Dybbuk is an adaptation of the Hebrew word davek, which means to cling or to cleave. A Dybbuk is considered to be a sticky, evil spirit A deceased, disembodied malcontent who clings to a living person in order to find respite from its troubles. The phenomenon of being overcome by an otherworldly spirit has a long history in Judaism. In the book of Samuel, David rids King Saul of a spirit of melancholy from God by playing his harp, and the idea of the Dibbuk gained traction in the 16th century when Kabbalah, flourishing in the northern Galilee city of Tzfat, promulgated ideas about the afterlife.
I'm so glad that no matter how long of a break we take, some things just never change.
I am who I am, for better and for worse. So, often individuals suffering from nervous or mental disorders were taken to a miracle-working rabbi, who alone it was believed to expel the harmful Dibbuk through the religious rite of exorcism. Isaac Luria, a mystic, laid the grounds for the Jewish belief in a Dibbuk with his doctrine of the transmigration of souls, which he saw as a means whereby souls could continue their task of self-perfection. His disciples went one step further with the notion of possession by a Dibbuk. So Dibbuks are basically malevolent spirits looking for a warm body to call home. So what could go wrong when you buy a strange box with a Dibbuk inside on eBay? So
many things could go wrong. I'm going to tell you right there. Spoiler.
See, my favorite part about this is that it's specifically a haunted wine cabinet of all things. Like, it's not just a regular box. It's where you keep your wine. So it's quite literally, like, if you want to, like, break it down, people call alcohol spirits. So it was technically already a spirit cabinet. They just took it, like, a step further. They're like, oh, yeah, we keep our spirits in here. And our spirits.
And we keep the fun spirits and the spooky spirits in the same place.
Yeah, we're here to be scared and have a good time, all at the same time.
If I'm gonna be frightened, I'm gonna need a drink. Okay, there's a logic to it.
It all balances out. I love that. But we're gonna figure out how this man in California got the haunted wine cabinet. So, as the story goes, a Dibbuk box appeared in 2003 when an antique store owner named Kevin Manis bought a vintage wine box from a 103-year-old Holocaust survivor on eBay. After a strange string of unexplained hauntings, recurring nightmares, bruises, the smell of ammonia, the box found its way back onto eBay and then landed in the hands of a man named Jason Haxton. He, too, felt the wrath of the box, and he ended up burying it somewhere in Missouri, but not before pulling it out of the ground to appear on a certain television show named Ghost Adventures. Now, I feel like we've talked about Ghost Adventures before, because it's kind of hard to talk about some spooky things that I've, like, dabbled in on the show without also talking about Ghost Adventures, because it was, like, I feel like you and I probably watched it when we were, like, younger together. It's, like, the, like, guy who's always wearing, like, tight black t-shirts, and he's like, I never believed in ghosts, and then I met one, and then he has, like, a whole, like, show series dedicated to, like, going to haunted places and trying to get ghosts on camera.
Sounds like my life trajectory. You know?
Yeah. You're like, that's actually me in another life.
Current future plans.
Yeah, right. You're like, that is currently my life goal. So, but yes, so that this show covered the Dibbuk box as well. So, Haxton stated that the day it arrived, I put my hands on it, and it almost feels like the thing collapsed into a liquid state. I felt like a knife was coming into my gut. I was paralyzed in pain. When I go to bed, I have terrible dreams of a hag that seems to come with the box. Haxton said he first heard about the box from a colleague whose roommate had listed it for sale after a string of terrifying events. And the box is said to have come from an Oregon estate sale of the Holocaust survivor that I had mentioned earlier. And the person who had bought the box at the estate sale was told that the box was to always remain shut set it in a place out of reach, and never, ever, ever open it. Three simple rules, in my opinion.
Okay, but like, if those are the rules, who would want to buy it? Like, I can never
I
open this
I
thing.
think there's just a lot of people who are too curious for their own good, which I get. I am one of those people for some things. But it's either that or like a weird risk-taking behavior. I don't know. I can't figure it out. But I would not spend money on something I could never open. I would spend money on something I could never open and make somebody else open it though. That I would do. I would do that.
You would do that.
Or I'd find some way to open it, but like remotely, like
With a robot. I'm gonna build a robot to open it for me.
yeah, like literally send out a tiny robot with like oh, what's it called? A stupid like a box cutter to just like open it for me. Something like that. I was more so thinking finding like a really, really, really long stick.
Nah, the robot seems more practical. That way you don't have to be in the same room.
That's true. That's true. Um, so then Haxton had paid $280 for this box, and then when he opened it, it contained a goblet, two locks of hair tied together with a string, pennies from the 1920s, a dried rosebud, a cast iron candlestick holder, and a granite statue engraved with Hebrew letters. Haxton said that he didn't believe any of the stories that were associated with the box and therefore did not have any worries about opening it, even though he was warned about it. Which, again, we are not the same. And then after he acquired the box, he suddenly became very, very ill, and he called it a tidal wave of bad luck. Like, with his life. Haxton stated that all of his issues vanished, though, when he followed a rabbi's advice to place the cabinet in a gold-lined wooden container to negate whatever entity was inside. He now keeps the cabinet inside of a military-grade case, which he then buried. Thousands of folks have offered to buy the box for any price, but Haxton states that it would be unethical for him to sell it.
You know what? Good for him.
Right? Couldn't be me. I would be like, oh, somebody wants $1 million for this haunted box. It's your problem now, buddy. You signed up for it.
I'm going to the beach.
Yeah. I'm going on vacation. Your house is now haunted. Everybody's happy.
Good luck.
Right?
Bye.
Pretty much. So Haxton states that he isn't worried by the box resurfacing at all. He believes that the Dibbuk's unfinished business is now finished, and in fact, Haxton now believes the Dibbuk box's energy has been reversed, so much so that he calls it his personal fountain of youth. Not sure about that, but he states that his vitals are now better than when he was 40, and he attributes this enhanced feeling to the haunted heirloom.
Oh my god. The ghosty gave him
Life.
the power of
The fountain of youth.
youthfulness.
The fountain of youth. Basically, he's claiming that this Dibbuk box is like his own personal Philosopher's Stone type deal, where he's like, nah, it keeps me young, which could be a thing. I don't know. But today, the market, like eBay and online markets and stuff, is full of Dibbuk boxes. Boxes are on online auction marketplaces such as eBay for as low as $20 and some as high as $1,000. Haxton states that most of these boxes are fake, though, just meant to be a creepy accoutrement to show off to your friends. And he says there are only a few real boxes in the world, but who would want to take the risk? So that's like the haunted object from eBay that like made headlines. And then I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong about this, but the Ghost Adventure show he's telling you about, so the main guy who runs it, his name is Zach Baggins. I'm pretty sure he has a Dibbuk box in his museum, because he has a museum of like haunted objects that you can go see in Vegas. And
We did talk about this
yeah.
from Robert the doll.
Yes. So apparently he also has a Dibbuk box there. I don't think it's the same one. It might be the same one. I don't think so though. But he does apparently have one, or used to have one.
Probably not the same one. This man is not giving up his fountain of youth.
No, this man seems
nothing.
very set on keeping his personal Dibbuk box to himself. But now I'm gonna tell you.
He's like, that's my good karma. I earned it.
Yeah,
I put it in a gold-plated wooden
box. He's like, I literally worked for this. I worked so hard for this. You cannot take it from me. But
it's mine.
I have my other ones here now, so I'm gonna just send you the pictures of what the haunted objects look like, and then tell you what they are. So I'm just sending you a picture of the next one here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Which, to be fair, this object does look like it would be haunted. Like, I don't even need to see it in person. Like, I believe that it's haunted.
Are they both dolls, or is one of them a real child?
So this is a painting.
Oh, it's a painting.
Yes.
Okay, it looks creepy.
Right? So for our listeners, I'll just describe kind of what these pictures look like. I'll put them up on our Instagram too. But so the Dibbuk box literally just looks like a box. It doesn't look all that special. But this painting, it's like a boy who's like dead eye staring at like the camera, it looks like, but this is a painting. And he's got like a girl who literally looks like a doll or like a robot or something, but like she has no eyeballs. She's like drinking out of like a vintage looking Capri Sun. And they're standing in front of a door where there's just like a million tiny hands pushed up against the door. Like it looks like a glass door. It's very creepy to look at.
I genuinely did not even notice the hands until you just said that.
Right?
Oh, that is a spooky.
No. So that photo of that painting is known as the haunted eBay painting, and the work is called The Hands That Resist Him. So it's from an artist named Bill Stoneham, and this is based on a real life photograph of the artist from around the time he was 5 years old. So the description that they give for the artwork officially is that it depicts a young boy and a doll in front of a glass door with disembodied hands in the background. A California couple found this painting in an abandoned brewery, but in February of 2000, not long after they brought it home, they listed it on eBay with a dire warning to buyers that this painting may or may not possess supernatural powers that can impact or change your life. They claimed that their daughter told them that the boy and the girl in the painting would fight with each other at night. And the ad also mentioned that at one point, the boy seemingly exited the picture, which is then when they decided to sell it. Which, if I had a picture that did any of those things in my house, I would throw up. That would be my first thing I would do. I would then throw it away after that, but throw up, definitely. That is so scary.
I don't know that my first thought, if I had a haunted object, would be, you know what I should do? I should list this on eBay. I'm making some money off my trauma.
Especially if it's because these are like stories of stories, I'm not really sure if they actually found it in like an abandoned brewery or not, but they got it for free. Like, why are you selling it? Just get rid of it.
Literally, fire exists. Like, what is the holdup to use fire?
You're like, it's from nature. Fire is also free. You can use it anytime.
It's available 24/7.
You don't even need to phone a friend to get fire in your neighborhood. You can just make it.
Literally, just like go outside, throw that in a trash bin, and light it on fire. I'm telling you, best solution.
Oh my gosh, that just reminds me of something. I have accidentally owned a haunted item and burned it in a burn pile before.
You have?
Yes. There was somebody in my life at one point who dabbled in like spiritual practice type stuff, and they had gotten a friend of theirs who is also in that realm to make my husband and I a wedding gift. And I found out afterwards that like it was in part thrifted, but it was also like a part of it was made. And the minute that I brought it into my house, Andrew was like sick for like months and months. Like it would be like he would get better for like 2 days and then get sick again. And the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And then my mom came over to my house and she's like, "Oh, like what's that? Like it kind of gives me a little bit of a weird vibe because I had it like on display at one point in our old place." And then I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "You know what? That particular person has said some really weird stuff to me in the past. Maybe I'm going to get rid of it." And so I put it in a burn pile, and Andrew actually got better after that, weirdly enough.
Huh.
Interesting, hey?
Do you think it was like a cursed object?
Well, here's the thing. I didn't even know this until after she'd already like given this to me and like made and like had her friend made it. She literally told me that she pays this person who like made our wedding gift to curse people. And she had a falling out with
That girl,
like
that other girl, and that girl.
used to be really close that you met. She literally paid this lady to put a curse on
That girl,
and like
that other girl,
would go around and be like, "Yeah, that's why
that girl.
I can't have a successful relationship with anybody's because I put a curse on her."
That is so fucking weird.
Isn't that fucking weird? So I don't know why I didn't remember that earlier. That like just came to me. I totally forgot about that.
So maybe not necessarily a haunted item, but a cursed item for sure.
100%. It was especially weird because like she told me that after the wedding gift thing, and then she went through this like weird phase where she would like talk about how she really missed how things were like back when I was single, back when I didn't have somebody. I was just more fun back then. I was all these different things. And she's like, "Oh, well, maybe someday we'll be able to do this stuff again and whatever." And I was like, "Well, I'm married now, so probably not. Haha." And then, yeah, like after we got rid of it, Andrew started getting better from his weird sickness. Then nobody could figure out what it was. And then I was like,
She's like, "You are more fun single. You won't dump him. I'm getting rid of him for you."
that was basically it. Like I was like thinking about it afterwards and I was like, "Oh my gosh, if this crazy person literally can actually know somebody who can literally put curses on people and this is happening, oh my god." So anyway, but yeah, no, like mom picked up on it though. She like came over and she's like, "What the fuck is that thing?" And I was like, "Oh, like
That other girl.
and her friend made it as like a wedding gift for Andrew and I." Yeah, crazy times.
Not the vibe.
Well, it's especially bad if it's my mom. If it's anybody's mom pointing something out, you would, like, for me, I'd be like, "Oh, they just think it's ugly." If my mom's coming over to somebody's house and being like, "Whatever that thing is," bad vibes. It's leaving.
She gone.
Expedited shipping. It's out of here.
Burn it.
And I did. But,
You know what? Congrats, Emily. You survived the horror movie. Round of applause for you.
it was a close call, but we did it. But yes, so just going back into this brewery painting, it's ended up selling on eBay for $1,025 to Kim Smith, a gallery owner from Michigan. In an interview, she revealed that she had received emails from people who claimed they were repulsed or became physically ill just by viewing a photo of the painting. So if you feel slightly vomitous right now, it's probably because of that painting. But I'll send you a picture of our next object.
I love how people are like, "You want to throw up? Here's a picture of this painting. Get ready." I do not like the thing that you just sent me. Why does it have makeup on? It's kind of freaky.
Right?
For our listeners, it's like a small... It looks to me like a small wooden figurine of like a boy holding something round or oval shaped in his hands, and he's got like lipstick, blush, and eyeliner on, but it's done very poorly and he looks very sad about it. Also, haircut not looking great. He got some thick thighs and the staining looks like it's starting to fade because it looks like whatever was in his hands used to be black maybe, but now it's like getting very faded, so you can't really tell anymore.
Yeah, it to me it kind of looks like he kind of looks like a beggar child or something. Like there's just something about his eyes that's meant to look like very like sad, I think, and haunting. Um
Mm-hmm.
so he sold on eBay in 2013 and the seller claimed blah, the carving had been in their family for over 60 years. The seller's grandparents found the statue in their attic in their West Virginia home in the 1950s. When they asked the original owners where it came from, they learned that it was a gift from a prisoner who had carved it. According to the seller's description, anyone who comes in contact with it seems to feel strange or creeped out by it. Strange occurrences began when the seller took the carving out of the box and displayed it in a cabinet. She says, I began to experience the television turning on and off, lights coming on in rooms that nobody was in, and the kids' toys would turn on in the middle of the night and be in their room at 3 a.m. So despite the item's haunted history, it sold on eBay for $85.
That's a good price for that creepy little statue. I don't know that I would buy that even if it wasn't haunted for $85.
But funny enough, I thought when I looked at it, I was like, I feel like I've seen some very similar looking things in thrift stores, like the little wooden carvings and stuff. But it is interesting that they were able to figure out that it was somebody who it was a prisoner who made it. So that might be why people feel a little haunted by it. Because I can't imagine, because they say too, I feel like I've talked about this on the show. There's a belief that when people literally make something with their hands, that they're putting their energy into it, so it's almost like a piece of them is what in whatever they're making. So it's like if you have that idea already and then you also know that a prisoner made this statue, it's like, okay, so whatever his deal was is now in this little wooden statue. And that does feel like
Yeah,
bad vibes.
it definitely is giving me that. The bad vibes are present even in the photo.
So this next like a statue carving is my personal favorite just because it's horrifying.
Oh boy.
It's a little spooky. So it's like a bust, or at least in the photo, it looks like a bust right now. And it's a painted face, but it's a very like flat looking face. And it just has the words future carved into the chest of this.
It looks dirty.
Like it's also, yeah, it's not very like clean. It looks like it's also weird because if you look where the future is, it almost looks like it was red at one point. So it like looks like blood kind of around the word future.
Yeah, the I don't know. There's something about the way that the word future is carved into that person that just is a little off kilter for me.
Yeah. I agree. I completely agree. So it was auctioned in October 2013, and this bust was made by a man named William who enjoyed making sculptures out of unhardened clay. According to the item's description, William made this particular statue on the same day he was crushed to death during a tragic work accident at the brickyard that he worked at. So a coworker saw that the statue was still at the job site when he arrived the next day because he had been working on it. And so he took it home with him. While nothing strange happened for a few months, things took a turn when he took it out of storage to display in his living room. A few days later, the living room felt heavy and uninviting. He began to hear doors slam on their own, only to find them wide open. Decorations that were next to the statue would shatter on their own, and at one point he found the statue facing the other side of the wall, even though he never moved it. And then to make matters worse, he then saw a dark shadow or mist that would walk past him in the living room at night. Completely spooked, he ended up begging his one friend to sell it for him, who then put it on eBay.
Why sell it? I don't understand.
I don't know. That's what I mean, though. It's like a whole thing of like people being like, "Oh my god, here's this like super haunted thing. I'm gonna sell it." Like instead of just like burning it. I don't know. Very strange.
They're like, the hauntingness of it all just adds value, baby.
I'm gonna send you this next picture of this next haunted item. I think this one will be our last one. I'm just gonna check. Yeah, this one's the last one.
She looks like a scary Barbie.
Yep. It is legitimately what you think when people are like, "Oh, I'm so scared of those like old porcelain dolls." You think of like this thing. It basically looks like an older porcelain doll with a hand-painted face, and she's wearing like felt clothing that looks handmade, and she's got like a little bridal veil on, and the way the picture is taken makes it look like she's like looking out of a coffin, which I can't imagine was on purpose, but that is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And the like description for this haunted item is that even though this doll may look like any other, according to the seller, this doll is a Dibbuk, or like there it's like you can pronounce Dibbuk with a Y or Dibbuk with an I, but for me in my voice right now it'll sound the same either way. But just like the Dibbuk box that we talked about earlier, but instead of it just being a spirit that haunts a wine cabinet, like Spirits and Spirits, it's a spirit who's haunting this doll. So the seller, who specializes in selling paranormal items that people don't want anymore, says that the doll's owner brought it into an antique shop and was told that it was a Dybbuk, but didn't know what the word meant. And then soon after, whenever she opened the box that it came in or touched the doll, she would have horrifying nightmares of shadow people that would haunt her. And this continued for several months until her son took it from her and decided to sell it. And this one sold. Do you want to guess, since this is our last one, do you want to guess how much this doll sold for?
$2,000.
$17.49. That is $17.49, my friends.
Aww.
Spirits do not have a high trade-in volume of value on the internet sometimes. But it is interesting though, because generally speaking, like Dybbuks come from wine cabinets and like cabinets like that usually. So this is one of those weird things where they're not typically dolls, and that's why it gained some notoriety, because it's pretty unusual. But yeah, that is my story for you today. The Dibbuk box and other eBay haunted items.
Well, I will not be going onto eBay to buy anything spooky after this episode. I just, it's still not gonna do it. I don't want to be proven wrong once again.
Well, my favorite part is, it's like a whole thing. Like, through doing my research, I found like a bajillion haunted items for sale on eBay. Like, people eat it up. Eat it up. Like, you could even buy boxes that are like mystery boxes, and they're like, oh, there's like haunted shit in this box. You're gonna have to find out what it is. And it's very interesting. Couldn't be me.
Is that what you want for your birthday, Emily? Is a haunted mystery box?
No, I do not. But I would like a video of somebody else opening a haunted mystery box. I think that would be cool. There's definitely got to be like YouTube videos or something of like that. There's got to be.
I am 100% certain there is.
Right? But on that note, if you liked today's episode, you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Wheel of Crime. And we also have an email, which is wheelofcrime@gmail.com if you want to send us a message on there. We have our website, which is www.wheelofcrime.com. We have our Patreon, which is at Wheel of Crime on Patreon. And if you would like to submit a listener story to us, we do take submissions all the time through our Google Doc, and that is available on our social media.
Yeah. That's it. That's all. And we'll see you next week for another new episode. Okay, bye.
Bye.